Brace yourself, another rough day on Wall Street. Here are the closing numbers. The Dow dropped again, more than 450 points this time, with slightly smaller dips for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. All this comes as Wall Street digests the ongoing trade war with Canada. Good evening, everybody. I'm Glenn Jones.
I'm J.C. Monahan. It has been a bumpy ride for the nation's economy in the last few weeks, and it has many people fearing we are headed toward a recession. NBC 10's John Maroney is joining us live from Boston with reaction from financial experts. John?
J.C., here in the city's financial district, they are watching this growing trade war very closely. They're not sure what to make of it, and more importantly, when it will end.
I don't love that we're pushing away some of our closest allies, but maybe in the long run, it'll, make our country better.
Warm sun in Boston's financial district. Welcome relief from the winter and the country's brewing economic storm.
You're definitely a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. I'm not making any big changes right now, but just kind of playing it by ear and seeing how things go. Yeah.
The stock market is down after President Trump increased tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and electricity, following a surcharge on electricity to the U.S. from Ontario. The volatility is making people nervous about their own financial futures.
You look back over 80 or 100 years or more of investing history, almost always the smartest thing is ride it out, because at some point the market will turn. You won't be sure it's happening when it does, but that's where you really make money over the long term.
Peter Howe is a business analyst and vice president of the New England Canada Business Council. He says the long international relationship has been good for both countries.
Canadians are mystified as to why the United States is doing this to them.
The president has talked about short-term pain, but said he couldn't rule out the possibility of a recession, raising more anxiety about the nation's economic footing.
It's impossible to buy a house right now. It's impossible to pay rent. So what can we do? We can't even buy eggs.
Now, people, they are anxious, but so far, no signs of any panic. Live in Boston, John Maroney, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, John. Well, President Trump is doubling down on the tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. They will now have a 50% tariff slapped onto them. The change is in response to Ontario Premier Doug Ford. The Canadian province provides electricity for New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. But Ford put a 25% tariff on electricity headed to those states in response to Trump's original tariffs. And he says he has no problem shutting off all electricity to the U.S. if a deal cannot be reached.
Again, I stress, this is not the American people. Canadians know it. And if we go into a recession, it's self-made by one person. It's called President Trump's recession, which shouldn't be this way. We should be booming both countries right now.
President Trump initially said this tariff increase would take effect tomorrow, but one of his advisors has since told CNBC that's not happening, so it's unclear when or if the increase will ultimately take place. Dozens of fired federal workers took to Capitol Hill today, calling on the government to rehire them. The probationary employees were fired from various agencies, including NOAA, the FDA, and the USAID. They also met with two Democratic senators, including Vermont Senator Peter Welch. The senators fielded questions while also calling the mass firings an illegal move.
It's unconscionable what happened because there was no plan. People who had just gotten really good performance reviews had something in their mailbox saying you did a lousy job, you're out. That's just cruel. It has nothing to do with trying to make a more efficient government.
The former employees also visited Republican lawmakers where they shared how their layoffs will impact projects and communities.